All right, there's gonna be some things I need to talk about, okay? And I'm gonna go through this entire process, whether it's obvious or not. This is a visual representation for people that need the eyes of the hands-on process, not just some written instructions, which I understand. I get it. That being said, there's a couple of disclaimers. This utilizes a coilover, like you need coilovers for this because the lower control arm for these kits eliminates the spring perch. That doesn't happen anymore. Also, if you're running a stock K-member, that is going to need some trimming. And I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna be able to cover that in this video because I don't have one of those. That being said, if you're doing that, when this is installed, you will see when you're rotating the wheel to its full extensions what you need to trim. Beyond that, there are some body modifications for this kit as well as some strut tower modifications. So we will get into that. Let's go. Next, you're gonna need to jack the car up. I know we don't all have lift. I'm lucky that I even have access to this one, but I wanted the best demonstration I could give you. So at minimum, get your front end off. All right, put it on jack stands, be safe. Harbor Freights if you're that guy. And then we're removing the front wheels. Next is unplugging your ABS. And I'm holding this because I don't have one of these yet. My stuff is full custom. I'll give you a look in a second. But
Music licensing reimagined.
where you're going is right over here to the front of your spindle. You've got this lovely ABS module. All right, you're gonna follow that wire because it's up on your strut a little bit. You're gonna disconnect that. This is why I can't relate to you. I don't even know. Drop a comment. Does anybody run this kit? Am I the only one out here that actually has one of these still? This is a Generation 1 first ever SRD kit, like the first one. Anyways, then you'll disconnect because they have little mounts up in here. I think there's one on the spindle, but there's absolutely one on the strut. Just anywhere the cable is connected, disconnect the ABS wires, and then we're gonna be moving on to be disconnecting your sway bar. So you'll have your upper link. You're gonna disconnect your links, all right, detach the sway bar. Go ahead and just take it out of your way. And if you have a stock sway bar, even at shallow angle, it will interfere. There are blade style sway bars available for these cars and they will work with this angle kit. Next is gonna be getting your brake calipers out of the way. And whether it's mechanics wires, bungees, maybe a zip tie, whatever suits you and whatever you have in your garage. Next, we're gonna go for our tie rods. Disconnect that from your spindle. Take the outer tie rod off. Now we're gonna go ahead and separate the control arm from the spindle. I'm gonna tie this off a little bit just because I don't want it hitting me when I least expect it, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Swing off to the side rather than the strut taking over and smacking me in something I don't want to be smacked in. And this is going to be where tying it off comes in even more handy because now understand that this isn't going to be possible for you with rubber bushings. But we're just going to push that out of the way. Let this hang. And we're going to take the strut bolts off of the spindle. Now they're both hanging and one of them doesn't have to drop. And it's even better when you're not crawling underneath the car. Now for bolt sizes, these I can actually relate to everybody because I used OEM stuff here. So what they are is 21 and a 24. Now granted, you guys got a tiny little spindle most likely. I got this big honking chunk of steel that would probably really mess me up. But now I'm gonna go ahead and get that out of the way. For those of you that had no idea what I was talking about, this is what it looks like. I welded my own stops on here. Just some last second stuff. Right before an event, I put a wheel stud in there and then a giant bolt. But there it is. I think, if I remember correctly, this uses a 350Z wheel hub. It's garage decoration now. Now lastly, for disassembly, we're gonna get the control arm out from underneath the car. Now as far as taking the strut out, this is obviously gonna be dependent on what you're dealing with, because if you have a stock setup, of course, we're gonna be taking that out. We're going to be reusing this for a different purpose. The top hat's gonna be going away, as you probably already know. All right, so we've got our 1, 2, 3. We're gonna get those out, let this drop down. So with the strut tower down, if you do have feels or BCs, this one is obviously a feel suspension example, we're gonna take the top hat off by getting into here. Take these bolts out. Now this is for reference here because we got our different year spans of different top hats. Your color-coded index here for your bolt holes. Okay, so take a good look at this. You got your driver's side, your passenger side. and then which year span uses which holes. So 2 of them get reused, which are the greens, and your purples are the ones that need to get drilled. That's what we're going to be doing here for me. This back corner here, this one is going to get drilled through the top. I have to mark myself a hole, drill the hole, etc. With it held up in place, now we can see specifically where we need to cut, because obviously, as you can tell, this will not go up. And this is the clearance we're going to need to move forward anyways. So just going to mark that out. Give us enough room here. Yeah. Cutter got away from me a little bit, but it's not too big. And I'm going to, with this pick, make myself a nice circle here so that I can see where my holes need to be done. And then I'm going to do that. Obviously I'm going to need a hole saw for this one, or a really big step bit if that's what you got. So what we've got is a 1.5 inch hole here, so a 1.5 inch hole saw. And for the back here where we had to drill an extra hole, I went up to a 1/2 inch, and to give myself a little bit of room for error here and getting the bolt in, because you know the hole was perfectly tight for the bolt. Ream it out a little bit, do your round the world motion here, just so that there's a little bit of room to kind of fidget the bolt in so you can match the threads and get it in there. And then that's what we got. Then coming in from the bottom, I just piloted the hole down here with a small drill bit. And then I came up top and then just finished off the rest of the holes, stepping up this one all the way to 1/2 inch, and of course getting this one to a hole saw. All right, so now would be a great time to go ahead and we're gonna remove the brake shield. All right, obviously that's already been done here. I got these spindles that way, so that's why I couldn't show you, but they're attached here and here, and it's, oh, and down here as well. But it's just gonna require a lot of cutting, grinding. It's annoying, it's not fun, but it is what it is. You gotta get it out of the way, all right? And it goes around this whole thing. If you're already looking at it, you're already looking at it. If I'm referencing, then I'm referencing. All right, you crazy kids. All of this stuff came in bags, all right? Leave them in the bags because they're organized. If you're like me, even a little bit, where you get distracted, it's just not great. All right, so what we got in our hands right now came out of the tie rod bag, and we're gonna install these up, and you can adjust as desired, but we're talking about out of the box, put this on the car, set your toe and go drive it. Then we're gonna put it in our extended outer tie rod, our pern rod. Putting this on, 1 to 2 threads showing, and 1 to 2 threads. And if you're installing this on a Fox, because it will work on a Fox, you're gonna need the steering rack from a 94 to 04 SN95. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put the extended tie rod on the inner tie rod and leave the jam nuts loose until the front suspension is completely done. That's control arm time. We're gonna have to install our rod ends. And this is gonna go in like, this is the passenger side, this is what the passenger side wants. Your bag of just rod ends here. You got your 2 big ones. Those are your outers, your ball joints, and then you got your smaller ones are gonna be where you mount to the subframe. We're gonna take those heim joints. You got your 5/8, which is your big boy, and your 3/4, which is mildly smaller. For the 5/8 ball joint side, we're gonna leave about 1 to 2 threads. And then for our 3/4 chassis side, we're gonna leave about 5 to 6 threads. If you wanna adjust your track width, adjust it on the 3/4. And we're gonna take those and go ahead and put our 3/4 on the back side, chassis side of the arms here. Don't tighten these yet because we need to put them on the car, and you're gonna want them to be mobile for putting them in properly. These are your control arm bolts with your spacers, and I'll show you how they orient on the car. I'm coming in from the inside here. Let it hang a little bit. Put one of your spacers on. Let the bolt come through the end of that spacer. Get your control arm rod end. Use this stool here. Hold your control arm up to your spacer. Tight fit. Stool's easier. Spacer, control arm, bolt. Line it up. Apparently, my tab is a little bent. I need to add gussets. All right, slide into your heim joint, just to the inside of it so you can fit your other spacer. Slide your spacer in, get your bolt all the way through. Bam. And grab your nuts. The zinc plated nuts, you sickos. For your forward one here, you're gonna have to scoot the bolt back a little bit, put your nut on, and then just thread it through because, you know, unless you're taking your rack off, that's in the way. Just gonna snug these up for now. We're gonna grab our Ackerman plates. Now I'm gonna set mine to the 0 setting. So when you got this just in your hands and whatnot, top, bottom. Signs are on the bottom for whoever's wrenching on the car, being on the bottom. making adjustments, you can see what they're looking at. Now we're gonna put our toe plates on, our Ackerman plates, sorry. Perfectly machined to fit in here. And the hole, you know, you're gonna follow where it fits. Right there. Then you're gonna take your 3.5 inch, half inch by 20 bolt, which in the bag that we just took that out of, it's the skinnier one and the longer of the skinny bolts, top to the bottom. See where this is? This little nut engraving. You're gonna take your 1/2 inch by 20, 2.5, 2.25 long, slide it up through there, head of the bolt getting into that little hex head. It's gonna come up through here, and you're gonna put this on your spindle, line it up, put it through the tie rod hole. Visual reference. That's what we're looking at here. And this is what I meant, because when that wasn't ground down, it was actually not allowing this. It wouldn't have been able to be, when this is tightened down, it wouldn't be flat at all. So, but on the other one I have over there, it works fine. Now with the provided lock nut for these, go ahead and put that on there. And this is gonna get tightened down to 100 foot-pounds. And the control arm, you're gonna take your 5/8 diameter spacer. This is gonna go on the bottom of the control arm. So you've got spacer to spacer on bolt through the bottom. Get that inside the rod end. Get your other one through the rod end. Get everything lined up here. Nice and snug. There you go. It's a little hard to thread, so we're gonna get some wrenches. Bam. And then that's gonna get tightened to 120 foot-pounds. Before we go ahead and locate the tie rod, I'm gonna actually torque this down. So we got this one, which is a 19 mil, and this one, which is a 24 mil, and we're gonna torque these accordingly, 100 foot-pounds and 120 foot-pounds. What we're looking for here, with everything torqued into place on the adapter to the spindle, before we attach the tie rod, is to make sure that there's no binding. All right, so looking good. And also you want to make sure that it's spinning on the ball like that and not on the bolt. Now we're going to go ahead and take our tie rod. We've got our, see, I couldn't keep it on here. We've got our bottom plate spacer, tie rod, put that in the heim joint, and you got your bottom. Get that up inside the rod end and nut. That about wraps it up. Go ahead and put your brake calipers back on and your rotors. All right, make sure everything is tight. All right, make sure you've gone through and tightened every single thing. If anything is loose, rewind, go back. If you need the instructions, or if I said the foot-pounds for it, just go back, tighten it, make sure everything is good. Now for my setup in particular, these wheels are 18 by 8.5. They're either 30 or 35 offset. I was hitting the control arm right here, so I had to use a 1-inch spacer and put the rack limiters back in. So if you've taken those out, go ahead and put those back in, depending on your setup. You know, it's all gonna be adjustment for you when it comes down to it, what your wheel specs are, if you're already running spacers, whatever your deal is. And feel free to reach out to me, anybody who's installed this kit, for questions. We will do our best to tackle your issue if you're having a little bit of fitness issue. So that's about it, man. Look at that. Right and easy, no binding, right off of the lock. Oh, last thing, I got mine kind of rigged up to the coil over here, so they know touchy. All right, make sure you do that. That'd be a sad thing to forget. Set your toe to 0 as a good start, and make adjustments from there, and go rip.